space like HRTech, which is extremely, at some level, there are other solutions. What did you define as the MVP, and how was it? How difficult, easy was it to get that quote unquote first client in an enterprise?
Got it. So two principles we thought were necessary while building for enterprises, right? Like, so when we asked a lot of folks on why they're not using the system or unhappy with the system, right? Adoption seemed to be a big problem, right? People were not using the system. Now, when we dug deeper, right, there were two broad reasons, right? One was it's not easy to use, right? Like it's just painful. There are 10 systems. I can't log into something, etc. On the other hand, there is a lot of good products out there who came in from the West and said, this is how you should do it because this is best practice. You should change your process. But we realized that in terms of HR as a function is very, very influenced by the local culture, right? Because it's all about people, right? Like, so you can't go in and say, hey, the West works like this, right? And I'll give you an example, right? Like absconding is not even a concept in the West. So you go to an SAP Oracle and say, right, I need an absconding process. They'll say, hey, let them come and resign. Right. But that's something very common in, let's say, startup logistics setups, insurance setups, medical rep setups, all of those things, right? Absconding is a common thing that we face. Similarly, what an Indonesia faces or a Philippines faces also is the same, right? So what do you do then? You take that process and put it offline because you bought like a Western product, which is good for some set of things, right? So these two things we wanted to solve for. One was, how do we make sure the end user uses it more? So then we said, hey, a lot of people don't have laptops. Let's solve it through mobile. Right? A lot of people might need notifications on WhatsApp, right? SMS might not be the right one. A lot of people don't have email IDs. We should do an OTP. These are not ideas which were like new to the world or innovative, right? These were basically usage of a lot of consumer concepts into problem statements or use cases in HR, in organizations, right? So that was the first idea. The second idea was basically how do we build this very configurably, as much no code as possible so that we can allow for a lot of workflows. It's not like there is an India workflow. We always wanted to build for enterprises. Enterprises are MNCs, right? It's not like India or the globe or anything, right? And that means you need to solve for other countries as well on the platform level. Luckily, obviously, Workday existed by then, ServiceNow existed by then. There is so much learning in itself. A combination of those things was what we thought would be an interesting idea to bring together, right? And that's the other piece that was there. Now, for making a customer believe this, right? Making an early customer believe this, right? We had to definitely get the design right, which was basically the usability part. Whatever we did should have been very clear. The configurability and extensibility of the platform was something that was going to be built out. So we said, what are the basic modules, right? If they don't use anything, what will they use? They'll use the core platform, right? Where you can resign, where you can join, where you can see the org structure, etc. And leave attendance is the most basic thing they'll use, right? If the company has not evolved to a performance reviews or a requisition process and all of that, they'll at least do this. So these are the first two modules we built out and said, whatever principles we want on the full platform, we wanted to build an end-to-end platform. Again, enterprises bought end-to-end in this part of the world and all of that, right? Whatever key principles of product we want to have here, which means it has to be super easy to use. It should be on their mobile app. It should be very configurable, right? Like if they have a interesting, right, birthday leave +1, right? Like random, right? I'll give 2 days leave for everybody's birthday every year, right? No platform in the world can solve for it. But we said because of the configurability of the platform, you can just say 365 days +1 kind of a configurability we gave, where it's just a use case and you can solve for it on the platform, right? And we used to use these examples to say, hey, we want to build out the full platform. This is what you'll get when it is a full platform. You can start with this. And this is the roadmap for doing a performance, recruitment, etc. Right? So I think that worked. The MVP was basically these two modules working for, let's say, the first few customers who are below 1,000 employees. Our ideal size was above 1,000, right? We were looking at companies which were slightly mid to large enterprises. That was the focus because we understood those better.